Well, hello, hello, hello. Much love to you all. May God bless you all. Hit that like button. And also at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, that's 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, we're doing the book of Mark, chapter 6. We're going to talk about the talk they had at the World Economic Forum. I'm not going to play the whole 47-minute long video, but I have individual little clips that we're going to play of some of the key words they were speaking of at this meeting at Davos World Economic Forum about this. But I also want to pull up, remember the old thing that Bill Gates and Melinda Gates did back in the day where they'd give over $300 million for a CPI for this one name, but remember, we can't use these names but it was all about disease X. It referred even to this. So there's portions of this audio that I want to go to, and we will get to them.
Excellencies, from becoming full-blown pandemics. We have been working on this for some time. Actually, this session links very well to some of the initiatives that the Center for Health and Healthcare at the World Economic Forum is working on. By the way,
He said, we've been working on this for quite some time. Pretty key words there, working on it for quite some time.
We've been working on that as well. We have ways to make sure that there is manufacturing in various parts of.
He used the V word. They're working on one.
Guard for the Center for Health and Healthcare and the work that only the World Economic Forum can do to bring all of the actors together to address really important issues.
Bring all the actors together. Brothers and sisters, I want to add to you, if you go to the New Testament and you go, and I'll bring it up on the screen here later, the word hypocrite, when Christ calls people hypocrites, it stands for stage actors. And that's what these guys are doing. They are stage actors. So like I said, I'm only going to play certain portions of what is being said here. So we're going to go from about here for a little bit.
Don't know. That may come. And that was when we gave the name Disease X. So Disease X is a placeholder for unknown disease. I just wanted to start by clarifying that because there is already a lot of attention. If I may, although we were preparing for disease. You may even call it as the first disease X. And it may happen again.
It may happen again. Boy, like I said, I didn't want to go through a lot of what they had said on here, but I have some other things I want to bring up too. So we're going to go to about 15 minutes in.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I will speak in Portuguese.
First of all, I'd like to say that I bring the perspective of Brazil, the vision of the Ministry of Health, but I would like to make a sort of more encompassing reflection along the lines of what my fellow panelists have done. First of all, Dr. Tedros Adhanom made a good explanation about the origin of disease X. Nevertheless, I believe that all of us see this issue in the light of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Several evaluations were performed in Brazil, and the first point that I would like to bring up is to remind you of Klaus Edward, the German sociologist, who says that societies learn, but it is difficult for the world to change. So we have the learnings of the pandemic, but we need some transformative forces in order to think about an effective ability to respond to potential diseases that may cause pandemics.
So she brings up Klaus because Klaus Schwab, of course, was talking about how this whole meeting that's going on this year is to gain the trust back of the people. And with the video that was released from the Surgeon General the other day, I don't know how you're going to win trust back of people when these things have been brought to light. And many people have been warning about these things for a long time. Videos taken down, called conspiracy theorists. But in a sense, it finally has somebody of a higher stature that comes out and says that we really have not been conspiracy theorists. We've actually been right this whole time about it. They've planned this stuff. You even heard in the beginning of the video, they've been planning on this for a long time, very long time. So I'm also going to bring up some clips about the banking industry, some key words they had said about the banking industry. But before that, I want to pull up the Greek word about hypocrites. So when we get to the word hypocrite, of course, we see when Christ uses the word hypocrite, you can see it says hypocrite. It says an actor, a stage player, a pretender, a hypocrite. So a key word, she said, those actors. Now, when it gets on to the talk of banking systems, here's a few key notes I want to play.
U.S. bank failures, including Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, there was a lot of drama. We had that rush shotgun merger or acquisition between UBS and Credit Suisse. Sergio swooped in to the rescue. We had higher interest rates.
She brings up the banking failure that we had recently in Silicon Valley.
The global banking system has overall held up quite well. Now, that said, there is still a tail of weak banks that we see even now in the current environment. For instance, if you look at the US and if you look at the number of banks that are at risk, they make up about 9% of banking assets in the US. Now, another area of exposure that we do worry about is in terms of exposure to commercial real estate. And that is a bigger deal in the US, somewhat lesser so in Europe, but still true in Europe too.
She brings up how the US has probably the weaker of the banking system. And we know how a lot of the foreign countries are switching over to a different currency away and doing away with US dollar. So it's pretty key talk as well.
New markets, excluding China, have actually held up quite well. Their regulatory capitals have been quite high, and that has actually helped them tide over this difficult period. China, of course, is a different story of its own, which is it has banks, very large banking sector. I mean, the top 4 banks in the world are in China.
She brings up how China is the biggest banking sector. And of course, China is one of the biggest ones leading the BRICS that we've been talking about a lot throughout this channel. So these are really key things. I'm going to bring up some other things on the screen that we are going to talk about. So now we're going to talk about Bill Gates recently came out and explains how AI will change our lives in 5 years. It's no secret that Bill Gates is bullish on artificial intelligence, but he's now predicting that the technology will be transformative for everyone within the next 5 years. The rise of AI has brought a lot of fear that technology will eliminate millions of jobs across the world. We've already seen this. A few places are replacing with robots and AI. But we see that a report about 40% of the jobs around the world could be affected by the rise of AI. That's a big portion. I mean, you got to take 40% of the world with jobs. For instance, you get to an old movie that was I think it was a Disney movie way back in the day, a cartoon called WALL-E, where everybody is pretty much the robots run the world. They sit back, they've lost all their bone functions because they're on technology. We see the world as already forming this way. We've already had a lot of people come out within Google, Microsoft, these areas with ChatGPT. They've done, they've had some things. They've been a little shocked by some of the things the AI, the ChatGPT has done that they didn't claim that it would do, but it did do. I really do think that this is, we've even had other movies. There was that old movie back with Will Smith, I, Robot. I really think we're coming into an age of AI. I've been saying this a lot, but I also have been saying if you take out the A, we're in an age of I. It's all about me, 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 me. So people want easier lives. So how do they make an easier life? They essentially just let robots and everything do control of it. You have everyone, and nowadays they do all things through simulators and things like this. This new one I'm working on, the Arizo Sleeper, we've had 3 parts. One got taken down on YouTube and had to put on Rumble, and a lot of people went over there and watched it. I'm working on this next one. It's really big, but there's also a lot of key things. I mean, they're even trying to bring in like Bible video games that take away the aspect of people reading the Bible. Hey, people are like, this is in a good sense they're doing this, but really it's not. That we're already in an information age where people do not read sources, they do not check sources, so people aren't going to check the ultimate source, the Bible. They're just going to take a video game for word for it and be lured in by the sorcery of the video game. So much love to you all. May God bless you all. Please hit that like button. Join us at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight for the book of Mark, chapter 6, as we're going through the book of Mark, and then we'll be into the book of Luke and then the book of Acts. But the only other live I have planned this week is Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Join us for church. Lots of people have been loving the early Saturday morning church. So that's the only 2 lives I got planned this week. Next week, we will be doing our spiritual war hour, where we get into prayer, we get into reading the word, we get into fellowship, we get into strengthening ourselves together and brothers and sisters in Christ. So be looking forward to that. I've had a lot of people also ask, they didn't know what Community Tab is. Go to the channel. When you click on my channel, look, a lot of us will just look through subscription feed and things that pop up. Not everything from a lot of truth channels are going, especially Bible channels, are going to pop up in your feed. So physically click on the person's channel. Then you'll see it. It says homepage. It'll say videos, shorts, lives, Community Tab. Go to the Community Tab. I share Bible verses every day. I share information with what we're getting ready to go out and do. I share little tiny studies you can read and compare other verses with those verses, and to do your own study on it instead of me, doing a video. I try to do things like that because some people, we need to read ultimately. But I also share the videos out on there. So much love, and hopefully I see a lot of you tonight for Matthew chapter 6 or Mark chapter 6. And much love, and may God bless you. If you like videos like this, hit the like button and subscribe. Much love to you all, and may God bless you.